We are back now with the Senate Minority Leader in Massachusetts, State Senator Bruce Tarr, proudly from Gloucester. Bruce, welcome back.
Thanks, Rick. Great to be back with you on a snowy afternoon.
It's a weird day, and I'm still, man, I'm looking for the sun to come out. It's an optimistic time as far as I'm concerned. I'm in the front of the line. Could be another month. I don't care about that. But Senator, last week you mentioned that today is a deadline for filing bills in the Massachusetts Senate. So would you like to update us on that, please?
Absolutely, Rick. So according to the rules of the House and the Senate, every legislator has until today to be able to file all of the bills that they hope to be considered for this legislative session. So essentially for these 2 years. And it isn't that you can't file a bill after today, but if you do, it may or may not get admitted by a vote of the House of the Senate. If you file it by today, it gets admitted, it must have a public hearing, and it will get due consideration. Again, not that bills filed afterwards won't, but today is a very important day. And so I anticipate that by the close of business at 5 o'clock today, we will have somewhere between 3 and probably 6,000 or 7,000 bills that will have been filed by the members in both branches. And many of those, Rick, will focus on similar subjects. They won't necessarily be all distinct from the other, but they are all important. And I'm certainly filing my bills today. And I stand in a dual role here today where I'm filing bills that are local and represent the people of our district, but also as the minority leader filing bills that are more thematic for the minority party in the Senate. And so it's a lot of work. But it's one of those times of year where you just have to be prepared and you have to do your best. And it is a little different this year because we're doing this largely remotely. I'm here at the State House. A lot of my staff are not.
Okay, I know I caught you on a water break, so I appreciate that, Senator, and you have to get right back. But let's take these in reverse order if we could, please. Number 2, you said on thematic on behalf of the minority party. A little bit about what that means, perhaps, and maybe some of the priorities that are invested in this?
Sure. So I'm actually glad you asked the question because our themes right now are basically to rebuild, reform, and revitalize. So we hope to rebuild the economy post COVID-19 and as we emerge from it. We hope to reform things that need to be reformed. So for instance, we have legislation about having audits done of every state agency to make sure there is no racism in the operations of that agency. And we are looking to revitalize by taking things that have survived through the pandemic, like our local institutions, but also giving them new life and new strength based on the lessons we've learned from the pandemic. So our themes are rebuild, reform, revitalize. And that isn't to say we won't file other bills, but thematically, that's where we're at.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that information. And God, I sound like one of those telemarketers. Okay, that's terrible. I'm sorry. All right, what about in terms of your district, Senator? Because you are so active, as you said, in at least 2 roles. And what bills are top priority for you in that regard?
So obviously, we're trying to deal with things that result from the pandemic, and there is some overlap here. But we are trying to make sure, for instance, that we try to continue to address the issue of coastal erosion. And I will be filing a number of bills, not only in my role as senator, but also as co-chair of the Coastal Caucus, to look at how we can make better use of natural resources to combat erosion. So rebuilding our marshes, rebuilding our shorelines, but doing it not only building structures, because we've been doing that for a long time, but capitalizing on a movement in this country to be able to use natural resources, living shorelines, to be able to do things like elevate the marsh, let it grow, and help it to grow better and faster than the rate of sea level rise. So that's a very important issue. Also, we've got a piece of legislation that came from Gloucester, from a home rule petition that we were able to get passed into law that allows seasonal liquor licenses during the time of the pandemic to be able to continue so that they go for the full year. We'll be looking to file that, and we will be filing that to allow any municipality to do that. And that will be very important for other parts of our district. We're also looking at issues like unemployment insurance, again, because we know we have a lot of businesses locally that are going to be struggling with the cost of that. And of course, we're filing legislation to be able to support the fishing industry. And one of the more notable bills that we've been working on last night and today would create a new grant program for gear research and for gear purchase for innovative gear that helps prevent juvenile fish from being taken in the catch, but also that protects right whales and allows us to continue lobstering in the face of a threat otherwise to the northern right whale. So a lot of different things. And that's what happens on this, this day, Rick, is you realize all of the things that are on your agenda, and you're trying to at least get a marker in to cover all the subjects you're interested in.